You're on mute, Mr. Chuan.
Thank you, Carolyn Saba, our general evaluator, and SM Alerts, plus our guests, Stan and Sheila. It is our pleasure to evaluate the speech of Jane Michelkamp, and we are made of 3 people. Our speech evaluator number 1 is Frank Zebo. I am going to invite Frank. What did he see, hear, and feel? Frank Zebo.
Thank you, Mr. Evaluation Team Lead. My goal, or what I'm covering in this speech evaluation, is clarity, vocal variety, and eye contact. I like the way that the pacing of Jane's speech was very easy to understand. She enunciated her words well and understandably, because the pacing allowed me to connect with the speech and the emotions, because this is an emotional speech about our times that we're all experiencing. And the vocal variety, I did notice that Jane had vocal variety within her speech. One of the notable things was when she was talking about meeting Cam, 2 children that she was delivering care packages to, and the excitement in her voice when she was talking about that. Compared to other parts of the speech, there was excitement there because it was an exciting time to see people in person, which is something lacking. Eye contact was very good. She looked into the camera, which is eye contact for a Zoom meeting, throughout the speech. One of the things that was distracting was when she was shifting in the chair, that did disrupt her speech a little bit, and also her eye contact with the camera. But throughout the speech, it was well paced. There were pauses that were allowing us to connect with the emotion or the concept, and there was excitement. And at that conclusion, she restated her introduction, and something that we can take for action, that we can go out and connect with people and find positive things we can do through this challenging time. So thank you, Jane.
Awesome. Thank you, Frank. Next in our team, let us hear from Leo on the gestures, audience awareness, and comfort level of Jane's speech. Leo.
All right, thank you very much, Team Lead Siobhan, and thank you very much, Jane, for taking on or giving us a speech, which should be all of our concerns about what's going on during these times of COVID with our young children. I think it was very pertinent to us as listeners, as your audience, and just a little bit on audience awareness. I think that it was a key speech for that, so I appreciate that. I'm going to start with some gestures. Now, most of the time when you were speaking, I was looking at your face or looking at your eyes, your facial language, because that's primarily what we get in Zoom, and that's primarily what you gave us, and you were very engaging in that way. I was most engaged with that contact when you were speaking about your personal stuff. As Frank had mentioned before, you had more excitement in your face. You spoke about talking with the kids or seeing the kids riding their bikes, or when the parents told you, when you were giving us little snippets of live action of things that happened, that you were giving us, letting us know. And as you did that, you were looking directly into the screen and letting us know, and your eyes were moving, and along with your cheeks, and that was, I thought, was very, very engaging for me, because I was connected there. At the beginning of the speech, it wasn't so much you were kind of diverting to the side and maybe looking at some notes. And as you were coming back, you weren't coming back to the same point. So what I would suggest possibly is putting a dot or something on your screen to remind you to look at the center part of the screen, so that so it doesn't seem like you're shifting back and forth. But as the main body of the speech, you did it very effectively, and I think it was because you were talking about the six-stage circle, and you knew the six-stage circle so well. At least when you were telling us about the six-stage circle, I think you could have put that down and just talked about each part of the stage, because it didn't help me as a speaker, but as a listener, but I think it took away a little from your speech when you had both of them up there. I was looking at both of them, and I wanted to look at you. Earlier, before that, you talked about three aspects, and you held up three fingers and you counted off the different aspects, and that was done really well. However, I got confused along with the six-stage circle about where we were at. So when you're closed up with the final aspect, I wasn't sure where we were at. So that's one thing I might not use. I would suggest potentially not using two different types of numbering things within the same speech. And then the comfort level, you were very familiar with your topic, especially the main portion of your speech, which was the six-stage circle, which is what I got. Thank you very much, and back to our team lead, Edward.
Thank you. Thank you, Leo. Jane, I want to say thank you so much for picking a topic that is so relevant, especially this topic so relevant for me because we have two children, Jill and Paul, and it made me ponder how pandemic has impacted their physical, emotional, and their spiritual needs and expectations. I also want to take a moment. I want to share my heart with you on the loss of your mother in February. No one can fill the shoes of our own mother. My heart is with you. On the speech, it's such a fantastic topic, and it is a topic that can be presented for a TED audience. It is a topic that the whole world needs to hear. And I liked several aspects of your speech. I want to pinpoint a fact that you focused on three items: physical, emotional, spiritual. Sometimes we try to pack too much into our speech and we get distracted. We confuse the audience. You have made the smart move of picking three aspects: physical, emotional, and spiritual. In those three, I felt that you have given a lot more weight to emotional aspect, and that hit me the most. And you have, the reason that hit me the most, you have shared a tool, let us call it a tool of circle. Even to make it better, let us call it a tool of pizza. You are showing a tool of pizza with 6 slices on that pizza. And if I have to close my eyes, I can see that pizza. In fact, I will remember that for the next 10, 20, 30 years. It was an impactful picture. Now the question is, how can we elevate your speech to be fully ready for TED speech? If I ask our audience to close their eyes and reflect what are those 6 slices of pizza for a moment, imagine what are those 6 slices within that pizza. It may be difficult. So Jane, what you may consider adding some toppings, such as add some imagery to those, each of those slices of the pizza. That will help us. To close my thoughts, I want to share, Jane, next time when you see Kanzi, give him a virtual hug for me. We enjoyed your speech. Looking forward. Now, your time, a minute of feedback from Jane.
Thank you very much for sharing all your feedback. I know it was going to be a challenge with Zoom for me to have to do it on Zoom my first time. So I have a question for you, Edward. So what did you mean imagery to the slices of pizza? Give me an example.
you shared the cat picture, right? A photo of cat. Pin that to that slice of the pie. And then similarly, just like cat, you may bring another picture for each pie.
Okay. Well, thank you. No, that's a very good idea. And yeah, it was a little challenging because of the Zoom, but otherwise I really appreciate everyone that gave the feedback. That will help me too. I know with the sign, I wasn't sure, and then my chair, I have wheels on it. So I noticed that I was swerving, but thank you so much for the feedback, and it will help me next time too with my speech.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Jane. Now we have 2 minutes for feedback from our audience. I'm going to start asking, keep talking. Whoever wants to talk, please share your feedback.
Hey, Edward, I
Anyone?
have some feedback. Jane,
Jamie?
I wanted to point out, I really appreciate that not only did you show some challenges that people are having right now, but you gave some specific things that we can do to help children in our lives get through some of the challenges that they're dealing with. I really appreciate that because I think everyone's feeling some of these. We don't always know the answers of what can we do to help the kids in our lives deal with some of this. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you, Jamie. We got more time. Another audience feedback. Yes, Jackie.
Jane, I think I thought your pie chart was really cool, but when you moved it, it was kind of distracting, and maybe you could find a way to just post it somewhere so that it would hold still when you could still gesture. But it's really helpful.
Another 30-second feedback. Another audience. Anyone? 30 seconds.
Edward?
Yes.
I just texted Jane this too, but she shouldn't really worry too much about at least one thing in the Zoom area. I know this can be intimidating, but your lighting is superb. The amount of light on your face and the background and the lack of shadows, all of that is just really good. So whether that was intentional or accidental, either way, that's something you've got going for you. Nice job.
Thank you.
Good. Well done. Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Jane. Back to our general evaluator, Carolyn Saba.
Great. Thank you. Great.